It's been a great day. I've learned a lot. Some themes running through the day that I hope to pick up on in talking about what YouNow is doing with Live. And just a little bit about myself. Somebody described themselves as a rebel. I guess I might describe myself as someone attracted to disruption. So in my career, which started out in the traditional music industry at Universal Music, at Columbia, at RCA, a lot of those labels, I was drawn very early on to digital music and the disruption that was happening there. After that, I was at Bertelsmann at the time when they made the investment in Napster. And I was speaking to Kai backstage, and I remembered something that had happened at that time, and that was when Thomas Middelhoff went to all of the music labels, every single one of them, and he offered them a stake in Napster. He said, let's do it all together. And every one of them, including his own label, turned him down. So that's a moment when disruption happened in another way, because the stakeholders, could have owned it. So it's not unusual that I would be drawn to working at YouNow. I felt like this was a company that combined a lot of things that I'm passionate about: authentic content, building new talents, and shaking things up and disrupting things. So I have a short video that's a little bit taste of YouNow.
What is up, guys? How are you guys doing?
I actually use a lot of gray eyeshadow.
As long as I got you guys, that's all that matters.
Oh! Did you see that? Check that out!
For this month, I'm doing a fundraiser, and all the donations are gonna go to the Children's Hospital.
Hi guys, welcome to the first ever YouNow dance-off.
Alright guys, let's go. 5,000 likes and I'm gonna hit a wall flips. Let's go. 5,000. Okay, you ready?
Hey guys, I just got a bunny. He's right here. Very soft. What should I name him?
We're spitting while a minute, and I'm about to get it, gotta tell them why they finish.
Thanks for the bars, Katie. I love you too.
You mañana trabajo. Okay, that's it. Get out of here. Kick rocks.
I love you.
Here's a comment for you.
Okay, so I'm going to ask how many people in the room have used YouNow. Okay, so that's because your children, your younger sisters and brothers, people in another age demographic are using YouNow. What's that? Ah, okay. Well, there is one person here who's very young at heart. I know that. Yeah. So we have a particular demographic that loves YouNow, and we call it participation media because we think that's what this audience is demanding. And just to go back a little bit of the history, we've talked about it today. Adi Seidman, the founder of YouNow, acknowledges, the influence, the trailblazing influence of Twitch as a live gaming network. He was also inspired by, how do I go back here? There we are. By what was going on in China with social networks like YY, where the virtual gift system was incredibly popular, people buying things like virtual Ferraris to impress a broadcaster. So this was a big influence as well. I think everybody in this room, we talked about this today. There's been an evolution heading towards live. So from text to images to video to real-time text to real-time images and now to real-time video. But I know that, we don't yet completely understand how brands and agencies can jump into real-time video. And hopefully some of what I have to say will be helpful in kind of opening the conversation around that. We call it participation media because it's a one-to-many that feels like one-to-one. And actually, at YouNow, 70% of the viewers participate in some way, which is an incredibly high level of engagement. So they are either chatting, buying a gift, liking something, sending a virtual clapping GIF. So there are all these different ways in the gamification of YouNow that enable people to not just express themselves, but to communicate with the broadcaster. And one of the things that successful broadcasters on YouNow do incredibly well is to acknowledge what the audience is doing. So they shout out, Amy, thank you. They use the people's names or their handles from YouNow. And, I've experienced it myself, but it's as if the serotonin in your brain just goes, off when you hear your name. It's almost like a primitive reaction. And when you spend some time on YouNow, you'll see that you can feel within the conversation going on there that people are feeling good about the recognition. And something else that happens at YouNow that I find fascinating is that people are actually very careful about making sure that the conversation stays positive, that people are not bullied, that the level of what's going on there is about positivity. And that's something very interesting that younger people are doing. So here's some press that we've received. We have over 100 million user sessions a month. And teens are going crazy for YouNow. And some of those reasons that the teens are going crazy, we talked about the audience being part of the content really emerging from at the intersection of the broadcaster and the audience. So this is really something new, that instead of push media, instead of thinking that it's just all going one way, this audience wants it to go two ways. This audience wants to be part of the media that's created. And there was a number of 30 minutes time on platform in the video. That number is actually now an average of 50 minutes a day that viewers are spending on YouNow. So we think that's a pretty great engagement level and opportunity for brands and agencies. Just very quickly, we have a freemium model. There is no advertising on YouNow. But we have a model where 1,000 plus of our broadcasters are also our partners, and so they can participate in our tip jar, our virtual gifts, and we give them the lion's share of that money that's made. And there are actually some broadcasters earning in the six figures. And these might be musicians you never heard of, and they're making their living on YouNow. We've also begun to have media companies working with YouNow, publishers like the Huffington Post. America's Got Talent did virtual auditions on YouNow, a whole series of them, and ended up finding some talents who went on to the regular auditions. So you had 90 seconds on YouNow to show what you could do, because we have a guest broadcasting feature where you can split the screen and invite somebody else into the broadcast. So that's pretty exciting. We're also working with Refinery 29, with MTV Networks. So the publishers are finding value in creating shows on YouNow. Just to mention some of the other use cases of successes on YouNow, the group Pentatonics came on the platform to debut a new album that they were promoting. They were in the #2 position when they started the broadcast. We had a link to iTunes, and by the end of the broadcast, they actually, it actually was the next morning, they went to #1 over Demi Lovato, and we were really happy to contribute to that. And so this idea of commerce happening on the YouNow platform, it's a very different idea for the group to say, we're gonna sing another song if you buy this. It's all happening in real time. They're encouraging their fans to buy, and it's a very different experience than just trying to sell music in the traditional way. They feel like the artist is personally asking them to do it, and they respond. Tyler Oakley and Connor Franta mentioned he's done his coffee subscription. He did a show on YouNow just recently. Tyler Oakley has come on YouNow and used it as a fundraising platform. And he raised $40,000 of the total $500,000 that he raised for his LGBT charity on YouNow. So it also really works for creators talking directly to their audience and explaining to them what causes they really care about. Casper Lee and Joe Sugg, I think this is of interest because they did something, these are two social media stars from the UK, and they did something really interesting with a DVD, which sounds very old school, but they had a travel DVD they did with the BBC, and they came on YouNow, they did a 2-hour broadcast. They told anybody who pre-ordered it that their name would be included in the DVD when it came to them. And they ended up selling 8,000 DVDs in that time period and went to #1 on Amazon, and that was actually a record for Amazon. So really interesting ideas about commerce, almost a social media QVC that can also happen on YouNow. So this slide says macro trends, but I really don't think they're macro trends. They're the things that this audience, this younger demographic is demanding. They want things to be mobile. They want them probably to be wearable. They want gaming aspects. They want it to help them build their personal brand. They want to lean in, and in fact, I feel like they want to jump in. And they think Wi-Fi should be everywhere. Why wouldn't it be? Everything should be video, and everything should be real time. So, you know, it's a new world in terms of what this demographic thinks of as normal. And, you know, I have to say that I've seen younger broadcasters just jump into being on YouNow, and it's just like nothing to them. You know, live streaming your life, for us, it might be like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be on, you know, we would be nervous, we might think, oh, do I look okay? And for this younger demographic, it's like they're so used to the selfie life, that live streaming yourself is very easy. So just to go back to some of the things that might be valuable for everybody here, and we welcome, this is early days at YouNow. Brands and agencies are just starting to come to work with us, so it's a great opportunity for people who want to be creative, who want to try out new ideas, a show that you might think would work for this demographic. Come to us and let's experiment together, because we can offer this strong engagement. We can offer the drive to action, strong conversion rates for what we're doing, definitely authenticity, definitely something that if a brand makes the investment, they will be able to communicate with an audience in an authentic way, in a way that's going to seem native to what they want. We have this audience. We welcome you thinking up great ideas about how you can reach this audience and work with us. So I have 1 minute, if I can do it. I wasn't able to do a live demo on the screen with you now, but if everything works well, let's see if I can.
So as Paula does that, I encourage you all to download YouNow and play around with it, because it's really, really interesting.
This is Emma McGann. So
you guys killed it then. You kept your hands up all the way through. Oh my gosh. My arms would be aching me if I did that, for sure. What's happening, Cindy? Thank you so much. Haley, you guys are so wonderful. Roxy is doing well. Thank you so much. She is outside sleeping or something.
Hold on here.
Say hello. Hello, AList Summit. What's happening, you guys? Welcome to my broadcast.